Hey, what's up, everyone? Travis here. I was reading an interesting article earlier today that kind of touched on all of the different things going on in the economy with the pandemic and with the stimulus package. And so I just kind of wanted to go through a couple things in this article and add my thoughts on a few issues and then talk about whether I think there's going to be another stimulus package again. So this particular article was a CNBC article written by Mr. Jacob Premuk, and he did a really good job of summarizing everything that's going on right now. So last week, I'm sure you all saw the stock market really shoot up, among other different reasons. One of the main reasons was the unemployment numbers took a big drop. So the U.S. economy added 2.5 million jobs in May after losing more than 20 million in April. And one reason why I think this happened, and I haven't seen mentioned a lot, is the PPP, with the Paycheck Protection Program, that required a lot of employers to rehire their employees. And so while I do think that the economy adding jobs was good, I do think that might be a little inflated by the government essentially covering businesses' payroll. I'm a little concerned that when that money runs out, we're going to see the unemployment numbers go back up. But I think we can be positive about those numbers today, and we'll see what happens over the next couple months. But what this article is mainly about is these future stimulus packages and kind of the disagreements between Republicans and Democrats. Democrats still really want to go big with the next round of stimulus. After passing the HEROES Act a couple weeks ago, it's kind of died in the Senate due to Republicans not really having the same issues at heart as the Democrats. The Democrats really wanted to push the $600 weekly unemployment through the end of 2020, which seems to be a dead issue for Republicans. They do not want to do that because they believe that this $600 is keeping people at home and keeping people not wanting to go back to work. The Democrats also wanted to push through a $1,200 check for everyone, including kids. I don't think Republicans necessarily are against that. But we'll see what happens. One big thing I've seen Republicans talk against that was in the HEROES Act was money for prisons. The Republicans are saying no to that. And then the Democrats also wanted to push through money for essential workers. They wanted a pay bump of $13 an hour, which would be retroactive if you work a job that's dealt with the public. Republicans haven't been against that. I've seen, people such as Mitt Romney actually recommend it. So we'll see if that ends up staying in. And then one thing, lastly, Republicans are very against the repeal of the SALT deduction, which is interesting because the SALT deduction is actually a tax write-off. States such as New York and California, where we pay high property taxes and state income taxes, we are capped at $10,000 of write-off for that each year. And so the Democrats actually wanted to repeal that as part of the HEROES Act, whereas the Republicans are very worried that would throw the budget into a further crisis. And so as we talked about earlier, this article kind of summarizes everything. We added 2.5 million jobs in May. Like I said, I think a lot of that is due to the PPP. One, big topic that's talked about between Democrats and Republicans, Trump is making comments, saying, oh, we're largely through the pandemic. Democrats would disagree and, who knows at this point. There's different articles coming out, on a daily basis that says, oh, it's more contagious than we thought. It's less contagious than we thought. Only time will tell for this. Trump is still very in favor of a payroll tax cut, which he's been talking about. There is one program out there right now where employers can defer their payroll taxes, so you can take advantage of that today. But as you can see here, the stimulus checks for Americans, that's a bipartisan issue. That's not Republicans or Democrats really fighting for that. And so I think the odds of another stimulus check are pretty likely because Republicans and Democrats both seem to agree on that. And then Trump's talked about tax incentives to encourage restaurant and entertainment spending. What that would exactly mean, I'm not sure. He's talked about, certain deductions. Right now you can only write off 50% of your meals for businesses. Maybe he wants to bump that up to 100 for the rest of the year. Right now you can't write off any entertainment expenses. Maybe he wants to change that and allow you to write off a certain percentage of your entertainment expenses. We'll see what comes out with that over the next couple weeks. As we continue down this article, the Democrats have really argued that the economic push that we've seen in the last couple weeks have been in response to the $2.5 trillion deal that was passed a few months ago. I would somewhat agree with that. Like, part of that was the PPP that I talked about. Another big reason for the stock market going up, that $1,200 stimulus check that did go out already. I know, a lot of people that I've spoken to and a lot of people that I've seen things online invested that money. As you can see, the stock market is back up to pretty much even for the year, which, after what happened in March and April is pretty astonishing. Keep going in this article. So the $3 trillion that passed last month, the Democrats in the House really wanted to push through another $3 trillion deal. Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer saying, now is not the time to be complacent. And so they are arguing that if we do not push through another, large $3 trillion deal, which is what's, on the table in the HEROES Act, that we are going to see the economy slump and we are going to see, people get hurt. And that's not what anyone wants. Everyone wants the economy to, continue to improve and for everyone to be okay. And then Mitch McConnell, he's been the one that's really pushing to hold back the HEROES Act. He's worried about adding, another $3 trillion bill. How are we going to pay for that? I've heard him say that he's told Donald Trump, we need to keep the next round of stimulus under $1 trillion. And so what's going to happen is they are very intent on waiting for the June jobs numbers to come out. So if you're planning on, seeing any sort of stimulus check anytime soon, unfortunately, it's not going to happen. They're going to wait until the June jobs numbers come out. So I think, maybe the second or third week of July, we might see some voting on something like that, but we'll see. That's going to be good timing because the $600 per week extra unemployment actually expires in July, on July 31st. And the HEROES Act, the Democratic bill, would have extended that through the end of the year. Republicans have said, no, we're not doing this $600 a week because, that's keeping people at home. There's a lot more, a lot of people that are making more sitting at home than they would, to work. So why would you go back to your restaurant or retail job? McConnell has said, we will help people that continue to be unemployed through no fault of their own. And so I don't think it's going to be a $600 per week, payment, but I've seen maybe half of that, maybe $300. One thing some Republicans do seem in favor of is doing like a temporary payment of roughly $450 for people that do go back to work. I've seen that proposed through the end of July. I haven't seen any serious talk on that, but that is one thing that I did see proposed in the Senate for Republicans. So like I said, do I think another economic recovery payment is going out to people? Yes, I do. I think it will happen at some point. I think it will probably be similar to the first one everyone got, so $1,200 per person. I think the income limits will probably stay pretty similar. Whether the $1,200 is going to be for children as well, or whether that's going to be $500 like on the previous bill, that remains to be seen. The previous bill also did not give money to people that live outside of the country, people that aren't documented, certain dependents such as students that, still file with their parents. They did not receive that initial economic recovery payment. So hopefully they'll be included in the second round. Thank you so much for taking the time to listen and watch this video. If you found this information helpful, please like and subscribe and you'll get notifications for when I put out content similar to this. Have a good day.